Hi, everybody. This is Lee at Fresh Astrology and Leos. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. I got to Cancer and thought I was done for September. So it was certainly unintentional to not include Leos in the September forecast. So we're going to include it today. I know we're kind of into September, but let's just talk. We're coming up to a full moon on the 14th, and you should be feeling kind of some themes around that. For you guys, there's a lot around career and money. So it's because Virgo falls in your second house, and we're still in a time of Virgo. There's a lot of activity in the career zone second house. So this has to do with money in, money out. So it's how you earn money by working hard, by applying effort. And it's also about how you spend money. And it can be about sort of the counting house, like the old-fashioned idea of a counting house and an accountant. So sometimes you have to be your own accountant. Well, most of us have to be our own accountant, even if we don't use accounting tools. But it's how you decide how to spend, or you decide how not to spend, and all things around the fluctuation of money in your life on a daily basis. So some of you may be having some career changes. Things that can happen for the typical Leo would be a new job, a new title, a new company. If you own your own company, certainly this applies to, it's a time of hard work. And because of the interaction between Virgo and Capricorn in your chart, Capricorn hitting the part of your chart has to do with your health and your daily schedule. My guess is that a lot of Leos are they're always battling a bit of burnout and battling a schedule that can feel challenging. And the feeling in general, as you have been going along with this Pluto vibe in your sixth house, is how do I manage my daily schedule in a way that feels good to me? And you've had a journey that kind of, where maybe you've made some decisions that are good for you. But at the same time, with Saturn coming in, I think a lot of you are trying some kind of new, like over the past 2.5 years, you brought on board some kind of new thing into your life that requires more work and more planning and scheduling and kind of some kind of rigorous schedule. Rigorous depends on the Leo. But it would seem rigorous compared to what you used to do. It would have the feeling right now for you guys that, work takes work, and if you've got your own company, even if you love what you do, it does require work and effort. There's a feeling of effort. And then how do I balance that with my daily life in a way that feels good to me? It's just a constant thing to return to. I see somebody's here. I have to see it. Hello, Hada Merriweather. Hello, Cheeky. Nice to see you here. And yes, on the money. Money. So it's a time when applying effort will yield fruit. You plant the seeds, you do the work, you till the soil, you do all that. Well, you till the soil before planting the seeds. But you go through the whole time of preparation and effort, and then at some point you will bear fruit from this effort. But I think right now it's more about applying the effort, less about getting the fruit. A typical time of harvest, I guess, would be more in the time of Pisces, Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, and sort of that section of the year where you get into Pisces, Aries, Taurus is more of a typical time of harvest. Although it's not like you can't get it now. You have Venus passing through um, your money house. So that can show you spending a lot of money, but it can also show some money coming in. I see a comment here. Your cat, but still dropped to say hi. Well, hello. Well, thank you. I don't know if it's Chicky or Cheeky. I like the sound of Cheeky, but maybe it's Chicky. Thank you for coming here and dropping by. So, Leo, let's look at how the month evolves. So we're really coming up, as I said, on this full moon. And it's hitting both the Virgo side of the chart, where it's kind of the king is in his counting house, counting out the money. It's also an area of values where you may be assessing what, doing kind of a check-in, an annual check-in on what's valuable to me, what matters to me. This is a normal time of year for you to be kind of circling back around to your values. But in a full moon situation, you also have the moon in the opposite part of the chart. That's in Pisces. That happens to be Pisces for you guys. So it's opposite Virgo for everyone. But for you guys, it's in this area of the 8th house that has to do with larger finance. So I imagine around September 14, there are some particular things to look at around money. You're looking at your money situation. Maybe you find a loan. Maybe you unearth money you didn't know you had. Maybe it's just a time to check in with your own accountant. But it's a time to notice your finances. And that's just going to mean different things to different people. But it feels more, it's not like a big deal, maybe for a fair few of you. But it's more like, what do I want to say? I want to say this is not a highly dramatic kind of thing for most of you. It's just, but you are moving forward with some financial goals, maybe. If you're launching a product, maybe you're setting that up. If you have your own business, it's like you decide pricing. You decide, you're making decisions now that will bear fruit later, is the way it feels to me. So by the time we get over to the time of Pisces in about 6 months, roughly, give or take, you're going to be bearing fruit from whatever you're doing now. So think of, if you're feeling like there's a lot of hard work right now, or you have had a lot of hard work, even if it's stuff you enjoy, it can bear fruit in 2020. What else? Thinking. We also want to pay attention to the part of the chart where we do have Saturn and Pluto, because so much right now is about this looming conjunction. It's been building for a while. These things, the skies, the heavens move slowly. They're on a different clock than we are now, in a day and age where we have, our phones. We have this instant gratification. We expect when we message somebody that they're going to answer us immediately. When I was born, we did have telephones, but when I was born, we didn't even have answering machines. And then at some point, in my childhood, we had answering machines. But still, the expectation was somebody may or may not return your call, and it may take a day or two. It wasn't this instantaneous thing, but we've geared ourselves as humans into this false expectation of when things should happen. So from a planetary point of view, and even from the point of view of nature, things happen over a longer period of time. You have to wait through cycles of time. If you just look at a planting season as just a really good instrument to guide us as humans, that the planting cycle, it's really a whole year just to do a whole planting cycle, and we're doing even more complex things in our lives, more complex goals than just planting a few seeds and having them bear, grow a tomato. We're doing more complex things, and they can take longer to set up. And This is a common theme when I work with clients. They want to know what's going to happen, in the next 6 months or the next 12 months. And we can definitely talk about that for sure. But usually I find myself explaining to pretty much everyone I work with, like, okay, you've got a 9-month window, an 18-month window, a 3-year window. These are the things that'll happen in 9 months. These are the things that'll happen in 18 months. These are the things that you look out 3 to 5 years for these other things to come and bear fruit. There's a longer cycle from a planetary point of view, longer than our annual planting season. Hello, everybody who's here. Money management and financial goals. Great. Yeah, you're right on track. Predict if you get a new job. Well, this is a very good time to be searching for a job. So for every Leo out there who's worrying about money, focusing on money, first of all, worrying doesn't, unless you're taking positive action based on a little bit of worry, worry itself doesn't fix it. But know that the planets, the way they are positioned right now, they are taking your attention and kind of moving it like from something else to whatever you were focused on, and they're taking your basically, like, it feels like the planets just take you and it's like, okay, look over here, and it's going to be internal. Obviously they're not literally turning your head, but your internal attention is getting shifted based on, it's kind of your own little annual cycle. You've got your own cycles, just as a Leo or a rising Leo or a moon Leo. You have your own annual cycle that's relatively predictable. It's going to be different each year because you're a different age with different people in your lives, different jobs as you age. But you do have your own annual cycle of when you turn your internal attention to things and even external attention to things. So right now, you're right on track if you're thinking about your job and your money and your schedule and how you're going to do it all, and making plans for the future of how you're going to accomplish what you want to accomplish within the time frame you have. And so there is this issue of time for you guys, especially with money and work and your daily schedule. It's, do I have enough hours in the day? Do I have enough energy? Am I going to, I know I'm capable in terms of my talents, but do I have enough energy and time to actually pull whatever this is off? I think a lot of you are asking yourself questions like, I don't know if I have enough energy. Like, I know I could do it, but is the toll it's going to take on my health worth it? I know I could do that. I know I'm capable of earning, I don't know, $1 million. Let's pick a number. But do I do I have the time and energy is kind of where a lot of you are, kind of focusing and wondering, and you have these questions. And I guess I would say it's really an individual assessment that each Leo needs to do. You need to assess for yourself, where your health is, for yourself what your schedule is. But in terms of getting a job, if you're looking for a job, this has been a very good season for finding work and having people take positive notice of you. So it is a good time, in essence, to get work. Can I predict, not seeing your chart, if you are going to get a job? No. But generally speaking, this is a good time of year for you to be looking and putting your name out there and getting seen and getting interviews. Yes. And you also have Uranus in your 10th house. So yes, things can change very quickly in any Leo's career or job. The pace has quickened and you are now riding, on the back of Uranus. It's like riding, you go from riding a bicycle and then maybe a motorcycle, and then Uranus is more like you're riding a dragon, a space dragon, just for fun. Let's make it a space dragon. But it's just like a whole new ball game in your career. And physically and emotionally, you've got to decide how you're going to manage that, because I think your career prospects are good. I think A lot of you are in position to really change your career, radically change your career if you want to, and become leaders. I think a lot of you can become leaders of some sort. And a leader could just be a teacher, a mentor, but somebody who helps others and helps show others how to do things. And people might look to you as a guide or a mentor, many of you. And it's something you need to know that from a planetary perspective, you're being asked to work outside the box, be outside the box, be, on the forefront of some things where maybe you haven't quite caught up to that. You're being pushed to the edge of whatever you feel you're capable of, or pushed to the edge a bit in terms of your energy levels. But it is being asked of you in some way to step into doing more. Oh, doing more, maybe I shouldn't say it that way. Let me think. Because I don't think it's accurate to say you're supposed, if you're already working really, really hard and burning the candle at both ends, I don't think what's being asked is that you just kill yourself doing work. So if you're already working really hard and there aren't enough hours in a day, you're not being asked to work more. You're being asked to work smarter. And you're being asked to definitely take in leadership and do something radically different with your career, but in a smart way that supports your health. Because Pluto and Saturn, your health, are going to force you to see that you need to do that. But at the same time, they are saying, like the message is, yes, you've got some powerful opportunities here, Leo, to really excel and take the lead. And a lot of you may be questioning if you're even up for that, right? We'll see. Okay, Ava, or Aya. Ava? Yeah. Yes, I'm building my business right now, planning for my future. Perfect. You're right in line with your stars. What if you're retired? Okay, well, good question. Okay, so if you're retired, I would say there's something still being asked of you. It's more about your health if you're in an older generation. If you're, I don't know, over 60 maybe. I don't know how old you are. Some people retire young because they've just done really well and they can. But there is something here about your health. So I would say what's being asked is that you figure out something about your schedule and your health and how you treat yourself, and to really notice how you treat yourself and see the correlation. Like if you have weird symptoms, try to figure out the correlation between what you do to yourself and what's happening with your health. And then it's also a good time to find really powerful healers who might help you if you need that. That being said, and you may be retired, but it's like your job isn't done. There's something you're here to do on the planet. It doesn't have to be like a big global thing. It could be local. It could be relatively small, but you're here for a reason. And Uranus at the top of your chart is encouraging you and yet even pushing you to get out there and figure out how you contribute. Like, yes, we go out, we have our careers just to make money so we can support ourselves. But that's not our purpose. That's not why our souls came, to inhabit our bodies on this planet at this time. You're here for a reason. Just like every tree is where it is for a reason. It's a part of a system. Every animal is where it is for a reason. It's a part of a system. Each one of us is a part of a system. And we're here individually to contribute somehow. So how do you, as a retired person, contribute? That's what's being asked here. So you may be retired and you don't need the money. And yes, I do think you should enjoy your time and take time for yourself. Again, I don't want to send the message that, suddenly from a planetary perspective, you have to just work your fingers to the bone and drive yourself into total exhaustion. No. In fact, that's what a lot of you are already doing. Or there's some physical ailments or things that you need to pay attention to. Even if you have physical ailments, you're still capable and expected to contribute in a soul kind of way. So that could be just by demonstrating love. That can be by maybe writing, maybe do a blog, Maybe if you like photography, take some lovely photos and share them with people. If you paint, just as a hobby, do that and get out into the community and share your art, share your self-expression. There are now storytelling venues, where you just stand up on a stage and tell some stories. There's some way you can contribute and are indeed expected to contribute. And again, when I'm feeling empathy for Leos, because I know with Pluto and Saturn here, some of you may feel like, I'm not sure I'm up to this task. I don't know if I want to do that. I sort of do, and I sort of don't. I think some of you are feeling like, I see where I could be successful. I see where I could contribute, but I'm not sure, there's something still holding me back is what I see on the chart. And I want to encourage you to find, you're welcome. I want to encourage you to find doable ways, ways that feel doable and healthy for you to contribute, to make money, whatever it is you need to do. If you're in a stage of retirement, it's just all about giving back. That's kind of the natural cycle of the human, that, you go through your youth, and then you go through these years where it's very outward. You go out into the world and you conquer the world. You conquer your degree, and you conquer getting a job, and you conquer, getting a family and creating family. And then you keep aging, and you get to this state where, eventually you're the statesman, or the stateswoman. And it's time to share what you know and your gifts, just in an altruistic kind of way. You could still get paid for it, but the idea is wanting to give back. What do you want to give back? There's something in you that wants to share itself. What is it? And that for every Leo, no matter what age, that question is one that may be already rattling around inside, and take it seriously, because it is like a little bit of a prescription that, the universe has this little prescription pad, and it's writing and it's tearing off a sheet and handing it to you. And for the Leo, it's pay attention to your health. Don't run yourself into the ground. Be smart. Work smarter, not harder. But there is something important you're supposed to do. Everybody has this mission right now, the important thing you're supposed to do. But let's see. Patty says, I volunteer once a week. Yes. Good. So Patty's right on track here. And Patty, do you feel like your life's purpose is fulfilled? Like, if you think of why you came here as a soul and why you are alive at this particular time, does that volunteering once a week, does that completely fulfill why you think you're here? Volunteering is great. It's a really good thing to do. It may or may not fulfill your soul purpose. Like your soul's purpose, Patty, and I'm just using Pat, I'm picking on Patty just as an example. So she's doing the volunteer work, and that's excellent. That's wonderful. And a lot of people think of volunteer work when they think of giving back. But do you have a special gift, Patty, that isn't in that volunteer work? Is your special gift being used? Because you have a special thing that you do that no one else can do. Is that what you're expressing in that volunteer work, or do you have yet another, like a special gift that needs to be expressed to give back to the world? How is that getting done? Oh, good. So Patty says, yes, there is more creativity. I also do, and get into nature. Good, perfect. Sue started a new channel, uplifting songs, poems, stories. Yay, perfect. That's perfect. That's a really good example, starting a channel of trying to uplift people, trying to reach out and help others who may need some encouragement is a great way to fulfill this sort of purpose thing that's being asked here. And again, it's asking you to do it in a way that still supports your health, but it's also feels, I think, internally like some degree of pressure. And some of you may be thinking, I don't know if I can do this, and doubting yourself. But I'd say stick with it, because remember, I started talking today about how, we need to remember as humans who have these instantaneous communication devices and the internet that really nature and, the universe is a different, our bigger nature is works on longer cycles, and to be cognizant of that we have this expectation, like and I'm going to pick on Sue now, like say I started a YouTube channel and, I put my stuff out there for a year and it feels like nobody's noticing. I'm not getting the traction I want. So as a human, in our instantaneous world, it's like, well, I tried it for a year. And some people are like, I tried it for 4 months and it didn't work. I tried it for a year and it didn't work. So I gave up. And that's a relatively short cycle of time. In fact, I'm in I coach, is, really what I love to do is to coach people. And so the people who've taught me how to be a coach, so the people I kind of look up to as mentors, when I look at their career, and they're very transparent about, the arc of their career, it really takes, and I specifically went around and asked people, like, how long did it take you to feel like you were really where you wanted to be? Because I wanted to have a sense of that for myself, like what to expect. And I heard anything from 3 to 9 years. And a lot of the people I really think are like finally kind of hitting their stride. I know that they started 9 to 13 years ago. And we tend to want things, I know when I work with, clients, whether it's coaching or in astrology, again, I start talking about these bigger windows of time and these time horizons to expect. And people really don't want to hear that. And I understand, I'm a human. I live in the same culture you do. I would love it if things happened tomorrow or yesterday. I'm not a patient person. I'm a nice person-ish, but, I'm not patient. I'm really not. I'm very impatient. And, I'd love things to have just happened, 2 seconds ago or yesterday. And it's not my strength to be patient. And so I totally get, Leo's a fire sign. I understand that desire to have something happen right now. But I also see, by just reality of the people I know who have been building careers, it takes time. And building relationships or building the strength of getting into a relationship or just dating takes skill and time. And just, timing is important even in your love life. And with health too, like if you've had a health setback, people kind of have the expectation these days, they think with the miracle of modern medicine that surely we could just, take a pill or get the operation and then in a couple of weeks we'll be fine. And sometimes we're all lucky enough that can be the case. But what I know from having 2 knee surgeries, and each one of my children, was a C-section, but especially with the knee surgeries, and they were pretty complicated surgeries, it was a year. It was a year. And I remember telling other people who were going into knee surgery, like, oh, just stick with the PT, the physical therapy, and, you'll by a year, you'll be back. You'll maybe even be better functioning than you were before, which was true for me. I have far more range and strength, but it took a year. And during that year, it felt like a long year. But when I look back, I'm so grateful that I did it. A year seems like nothing because it's bought me a whole new ability to do many more things. So I say all that to encourage you because with Saturn and Pluto in your 6th house, if you've had a health setback or work feels hard, it can just feel in a daily grind kind of way, like stuff just it's hard and it takes a long time. And so I just want to validate if some of you feel like that's the way your life is right now, that yes, but the reason it's there is to help you build. So if you've had a health setback, you have this capacity to build, really strong foundation again in your health. If work feels really hard, you have a chance to build a stronger foundation for your future. Let's see. So Hada, I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly, but I'll say Hada. For me, it is healing and therapy practice, integrative holistic approach to healing, but on my terms. Beautiful. And holistic healing Nice-ish, Patty. um, so that's holistic healing often is a more powerful because it really gets at the root cause, and you're trying to go back and to the very source of why the sickness occurred or the symptoms occurred. And to do that, holistic healing, if you've ever been to a naturopath or if gone to a practitioner, you've been sick and you end up going to someone who does more holistic healing, if they prescribe herbs or pills, they'll tell you you need to take this for 8 weeks to 8 months to see a difference. But the idea is it's going inside and really changing your whole system so that it's not putting a Band-Aid on something and making you feel better immediately, but it's really going in and altering your internal chemistry, biochemistry. So, and that would be a good kind of thing to just file in your mind, Leo, because of where Saturn and Pluto are for you. And some of you, because Saturn and Pluto are here, you're more interested in healing others. Again, with that kind of mission to that there's something you've got to lead the way on. It may well have to do with healing. So, think about what calls to you. Where do you feel pulled or called? Most of you will understand me when I say we have this mysterious internal pull sometimes towards something. We become suddenly curious about, I don't know, building canoes or, or suddenly our imagination will go to something we've never studied before, like astronomy or, I don't know, studying animals, and honor and notice that pull. Because something inside of you, kind of an inner wisdom and maybe even a higher wisdom, that's the voice of that, when we feel that pull and that sudden attention shift. So notice what comes up in those times, because maybe you're being called to do something, and I would say take it seriously and really think about it. Patricia says, office job made me gain weight, back stiffness, need to get back into shape and find time to do with. Yeah, and that's a really good example. Thank you for giving that example. That work may be, even if you need the job or want the job, it may be causing some stuff that you need to deal with. And so then it's your job to figure out some long-term solutions to that, to not try to slap a Band-Aid on it. Of course, sometimes we're in pain. We just want to slap a Band-Aid by taking some kind of, taking ibuprofen or whatever, get something immediate like a cortisone shot, and whatever it is. This is where you have Capricorn. It could be bone and joint related or, teeth maybe. So yeah, but long-term solutions, really start thinking, how can I set myself up for success in my job or earning money, but also in my life? How can I set myself up for success that includes health success, meaning, I don't get those weird symptoms. I don't end up with the stiffness. Of course, some of it's inevitable and it's the daily practice of figuring out how to deal with that. More stretching, more yoga, finding something that works for you. So that's what I encourage you to do. And the money, if you're focused on money, you're in the right place. Good things could kind of come from this again in 6 months. So that's about it. That is, and I'm sorry, guys. I'm so sorry I forgot you in the beginning, but we've got this nice full moon coming up at the end of the month. You have a new moon right at the end. And when you get the new moon, the shift that occurs is more a Libra Aries axis. You're welcome, Patty. So by the end of the month, you end up moving from the Virgo Pisces axis to the Libra Aries axis. And then, so the shift at the end of the month has to do, if there's any school theme for you, it could be with kids, and it's usually multi-layered. It's usually more than one thing, always with astrology. It's very complex. So, if you have kids at school, there could be some stuff that you're focusing on at the end of the month. If you're going to school or teaching in some way, the end of the month is pretty powerful for that. Some new thing is happening. It's a good new start time to to go to school, to teach, to write, to speak publicly, to travel. Um, Even if there's some kind of legal thing, the end of the month is good for you. Has good vibes from my point of view. It's working well with Jupiter. And let's see, what else do I want to say here? Yeah, your energy is going to shift more toward, I think physically you're going to feel a little more energized by the end of the month. So start figuring out now, how can I support myself so that I'm more likely to feel energized. I think some things will come in, like if you're looking for writing assignments, looking for anything to do with school, writing, travel, communication of any kind. There's some new starts there, and it's a good energy. It's also a time when you might connect with siblings and cousins and neighbors, and you just might be a little more chatty toward the end of the month, whereas now you kind of got your head down and you're working hard. You may still have social stuff going on, but you're really chatty around the end of the month and through. And this is a typical time of year to feel energized socially. And so that kind of picks up toward the end of the month and into early October. So thanks everybody who was here. It was good to see you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.